After a brief stop at the local gas station, you keep going down the drain until you reach the gutter, which is basically Blighttown from Dark Souls 1, but not as traumatizing, okay? This area is pitch black at first, and it's up to you to lit up the place and bring that cozy light ambience. As you enter through the fragile construction, taking your time is necessary more than ever. Like I already said it for a bunch of areas before, you need to take your time, but here it's true again. The first reason is that there's no clear indication of where the frick you're supposed to go. Second reason is that you risk falling to your death if you try to run through it. The third reason is that you'll get spit in the face by all those freaking statues everywhere. And lastly, going slowly through the area to make sure you kill every enemy and drop every item is a guaranteed way to survive around here. Seriously, I did this. It took me 20 minutes to get out of the area. 20 minutes and that's it, the area is done. Pretty short, right? Well, yeah, but it's not as short as the Tome of Sands, and at least it feels pretty good being around here. Because you know, when you travel through an area, and you have to take your time to analyze the situation, to fight the enemies, to not get poisoned by the statues, it feels good when you successfully reach the end of it. This area is actually one of the safest one, because outside of the poison spitty statues, in terms of enemies, it's just a bunch of undeads here and there. Some of them have torches, some others have surprisingly sharp broken swords, like they do crazy damage when they hit you with it, which is kinda weird, honestly. There are still a few ambushes here and there, but there's no crazy red phantom ready to splatter you, you know? And weirdly enough, this area has no boss at all, which is weird. Like, these two has a bad habit of putting you against easy bosses that serve no purpose, like Covetous Demon, Royal Road Vanguard from the previous area, Magus in Seldora, or bullshit bosses that don't feel good to fight, like the Gargoyles, the Royal Rat Authority, or the Chariot in the Purgatory. And here there's nothing, which feels weird, because when you reach an area like this, that is pitch black, you can expect to fight some monstrosity linked to darkness, for example, I don't know. And it's weird because there's nothing here. You know, there's a boss called the Dark Lurker. Well, maybe it could have been here. Now, Dark Lurker kinda looks like an angel. It's kinda weird to put him here when, well, most of the enemies in the zone are like undead enemies, so you could expect some undead abomination instead. You get to fight an undead abomination boss, but it's at the end of Black Gulch, not at the end of the gutter. Which, well, it kinda disappointed me, honestly. But I guess I prefer no boss at all rather than a bad boss. And all in all, it's not a bad thing if they focus on making the boss at the end of the next area better, you know? Spoiler, they did not. Now, in terms of flaws, I'd say this area could have been crazier in design, and when I say crazier, I mean, look at Blighttown. It's huge. It goes all the way down and all the way up. I mean, Blighttown is all about verticality. Here, the gutter, it's the opposite, actually, because you go down, but the part of the area where you actually go down is short, and it's just you taking a bunch of ladders down. The rest of the area is not vertical at all. There's a bit of verticality, a bit, but quite frankly, if you compare that to Blighttown, it's nothing. And Blighttown, it still has some horizontality to it, you know? It's not just entirely vertical. But I like Blighttown a lot. I know it's frustrating because of the toxic spitting guys, but outside of them, the rest of the area is actually really great, I think, especially in terms of atmosphere. And here in the gutter, the atmosphere is also great, but it's kinda short. In terms of verticality and feeling lost, there's not really that, because even if you don't really know where you go at first, it's so short as there's not much path to take, you quickly end up at the end of the zone here. I said that before, but I'll say it again. A lot of their areas in Dark Souls 2 are just too short. They could have made the area better, longer, and also harder. Because in terms of challenge, what do you have? As I said, poison spitting statues, which means you need to be careful where you walk, you can try to destroy them, you can wait for the poison to go by, which isn't that great of a feeling when you're just like sitting around doing nothing for 20 seconds before the poison runs out, you know? It's not the best thing. And the enemies aren't much of a threat. As I said, mostly undead enemies. You have a bunch of mutated dogs here and there. They have weird animations where their body will keep track of you by spinning around, so you can't really go behind them unless you wait for an attack. But if you do that, sometimes suddenly they will release a very badly telegraphed attack, and it will hit you, and it will be like, did that hit me? That was really weird. Like in terms of animations and hitboxes, those dogs are very weird. They're not that strong, so it's not a problem. Like even if they hit you once or twice, you can just kill them so quickly that it's not a problem. But it's still a flaw I wanted to point out. The atmosphere, as I said, is good, but it needs more verticality. And I don't know, for example, being able to watch hollows doing all sorts of activities from above or from below, it could be cool, you know? And then you reach, example, you start the area, you're all the way above, and you see a bunch of hollows at the bottom of the area doing weird rituals, for example, and you go through the entire area before finally reaching that room. And it feels good when you start the area and you have that objective of, I need to reach that specific room. Here, it's not the case. You don't see the room below at first, and you only see it when you reach the end of the area, because the end of the area is just a bunch of ladders down, and it doesn't really feel good or satisfying at all. Like, overall, the area is fine, but much like a lot of other areas in the game, it's too short. Could have used more refinement and more time put into it to make it truly memorable. I don't remember areas in other Souls games being as short, which may be due to them being harder, and if you get killed a few times because the area, or the enemies I guess, are harder, it means you're going to go through the area again a lot more times, which means it will certainly leave a bigger impact in your mind. And in this case, the Gutter and Tomb of Sense, since you most likely will not die while going through it, or maybe will die like once, you won't remember it as much. Now, I must admit, the poison spitting statues are pretty memorable, but the only reason for that is because there are a lot of them everywhere. So it's like the Hollow Knight in Iron Keep. There are so many of them that at some point you will remember this specific point about this area, but it's not really a good thing. It's not in a good way, you know? If everything you remember about the Gutter or Black Girl is the poison spitting statue, I don't think that's a good compliment to your world building skill or area building skill. Anyway, I give this place 7 out of 10 because I actually liked it, and it's not as short as the Tomb of Sense, but it could be much better. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you around. Bye!